I'm James.
And I'm BJ. Welcome back to your weekly whiskey, bourbon, and all things barrel-aged podcast.
We have the holiday cocktail show. I've been waiting for this one. That's it, right?
Happy holidays.
Okay. Are people
May
here?
the merry
Is this the
drinks
karaoke
be
show?
with you and your merry mugs be full.
I love it. Look at that.
Yeah, it's time for holiday cocktails, everybody.
So everybody's having holiday
pause.
get-togethers. No, really not. I was just getting my words together here. It's December. People are, there's usually a lot of events for the holidays, regardless of what you celebrate. It's holidays. People are having parties,
going out
events.
With the team. You're hanging out with the work fam. Yeah.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about some good classic holiday cocktails that are easy to make at home and taste good.
And some things that you just forget about, because a lot of times you roll up to the bar and they go, "Hey, what are you having?" And you go, "I don't know. What do you have?"
Whoops.
Excuse us.
Excuse us.
You don't want to be the guy that just goes, "Yeah, give me a Jack and Coke. Give me a Highball." These are classics, but maybe you want to change it up a little bit. Maybe you want to look a little refined. And so we're going to offer 2 refined cocktails for you to add to your order repertoire this evening.
That's a great story you bring up, because I can't tell you how many countless times I hear that at the bar, where it's like bartender's like, "So what do you have?" And they're like, "Surprise me," or
what do you like?
I'll take whatever, or and then the bartenders don't know, guys. Stop asking for bartenders' advice.
Well, they know. You should ask, but they're tired of that. They've heard that recommendation.
Yeah,
9 times to Sunday that evening.
But also 9 out of 10 times they're just gonna whip you something that's easy to make, right? Like they'll be, "What do you like? Sweet, not sweet?" Anyway, I'm sure that's a debate for another time. So anyway. Can you tell us what you're starting to pour over there? I'm very curious as to what concoction you have.
I would.
Brewing
in the mixing glass tonight. We're going to start with making something really awesome and something that is easily forgotten about. We don't talk a lot about the whiskey sour, and that's because there's such crappy sour mix out there.
Oh God! Terrible. Do not buy a pre-made sour mix.
Right? A terrible thing.
What is it? The Mrs. T's or whatever?
Who knows? It's full of sugar and nastiness. It's really easy to do something really cool, though, and you can order a play on the original whiskey sour with a cocktail that's really making a comeback right now, the Gold Rush, a cocktail that was actually invented at Milk and Honey in New York City in 1999. This was a twist on the whiskey sour using fresh squeezed lemon juice, Elijah Craig bourbon, and honey simple. Okay, so honey syrup. Remember, simple syrup is easily made here. It's a cup of water to a cup of sugar, or it's a 1-to-1 ratio of some sort of sweetener and some sort of water. We've made
used honey
simple tonight because that's what this.
And guys, you can even make it in your microwave. Don't go out there and spend unnecessary bucks that you can put towards a better bottle of whiskey or your alcohol, because people charge arm and a leg for simple out there. Like, I'm baffled that people go out there and buy simple when it's literally sugar water.
Don't buy the simple. That's $7 for a cup of simple. You can make
you get a $7.50 of corn syrup and water. It's not even like these companies, like, no offense, but you got what I said earlier, Mr. and Mrs. T's, you got Stirrings, you got even Ocean Spray makes a sour mix, Cuervo. Like, everybody jumps on the bandwagon because the markup, they're making so much money on these. Like, I'll give you guys this much. Sweet and sour mix for 1 liter at the grocery stores here, Smith's, is only through $2.99. So I guess, that's not terrible. But then they have some that are called premium sweet and sour, premium simple, which goes for like $9. Yeah, so just be careful out there.
All right, so here's what this cocktail is. This
really
is,
quick, Shelly. Good evening to you.
Evening,
thanks
Shelley.
For joining the show.
So the Gold Rush, very simple cocktail. Okay, this is 2 ounces of bourbon, 1.5 ounces of honey simple, and 1.5 ounces of fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Okay,
it's basically the hot toddy, cold without tea. It was originally made at Milk and Honey Bar in New York City with Elijah Craig. That was their house bourbon. We love it so much. We're using our favorite 2 Men and a Zombie Valentine small batch. Shout out Beer Zombies. We love you.
Shout out to Beer Zombies. That was such a great pick. Rumblings are they have a holiday, or might come after the holidays, but they have a Maker's Mark pick about to drop.
Do we know what happened to that Knob Creek?
No, I'm sorry. It was Knob Creek. Was it Knob Creek or was it Maker's?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's Knob Creek. My apologies. Yeah, no, that has not dropped yet. So looking forward to that.
Look
And
at
wow,
that.
you whipped this drink together real
It's whipped.
quick.
It's quick. This is easy. It's a take on a whiskey
Cheers.
sour. Okay.
It smells delightful. Wow, that is just citrusy and
Fresh.
honey and fresh.
It's everything good, and it should be pretty, holidaysy. So cheers to you. Cheers to you. Happy holidays.
Oh, that's delightful.
Oh my God.
Like,
oh my God.
no
And it
joke.
develops. It develops. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Honey Simple.
Oh, that's
could
so
be my
dangerous.
new favorite simple. That's incredible.
There's levels of complexity in the sweetness.
Ooh.
It goes from like that initial sugary sweet, but then you get the honey, that honey sweetness, which kind of has a rich, almost not.
Yeah.
I want to say, but it's not umami, but it has like a
No, it is kind
like
of
a
umami.
yeah. You get like
It
it's
is.
like a meatiness to it.
I'm gonna say you should
In a
talk
good way.
about umami.
Yeah,
This has an umami.
Yeah, it does have that. So, what? So it's basically one of the 5 taste receptors, right? So you have
Ooh.
sweet, sour, salty, and bitter, and then the one that's considered savory is the umami.
Yeah, it should be
That savory
Mm.
taste, described as meaty, complex, or delicious.
a little salty, almost mushroomy, right?
Yeah,
Earthy.
earthy,
And
right?
I think the honey, and it really brings out an interesting tone in that Elijah Craig, which is already a great pick.
Yeah, but really quick though, back to umami. So it's found naturally in some really easy examples. It's very Asian food oriented. So
Okay.
like soy sauce,
Yep.
seaweed, miso,
Yep.
kimchi, shiitake mushrooms, Parmesan cheese
Absolutely.
has umami.
Yep.
You'll get that umami flavor,
Right
that
here,
umami
right?
element.
It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
It's like where your sour receptors are, but it's like it's not sour. It's very grounded.
but this kind of hits all of those. You're getting almost all of the tastes in this. You get your sweet.
Wow.
You do get a little of that saltiness with the citrus, the sour, umami definitely,
Mm.
and a little bitter. Again, back to
There's-
the citrus.
There's only a little something that I would change to this.
What do you got? What? Yeah, what
I
would you change?
I would add a little cinnamon to this.
Oh,
think-
if you really want to jazz it up, holiday or a
I
stick,
think
garnish it with a cinnamon
you
stick.
garnish with a cinnamon stick. I think that's an excellent take and twist on this as a holiday cocktail.
Yeah,
I think even just a little
because that's all you
dash.
need. You don't. That can be very
Overpowering.
overpowering super
Agreed.
quick.
Agreed.
It's literally a stick or a tap.
Because you just want a little of that spice. You just want a little bit on the nose, maybe on the back end, on the finish. This is a great cocktail. I like a whiskey sour personally. I think a whiskey sour is a great cocktail. Really approachable, very drinkable. Again, whiskey sour is going to be super simple. It's some sort of a lemon lime juice
Yeah.
with a simple syrup, usually a 1-to-1 ratio sugar water, and bourbon or whiskey. Makes it really
Very
enjoyable,
easy.
super drinkable. Any bartender knows a whiskey sour. This is a great take on that.
And this is so easy, guys. Any of you can do this. Don't be afraid. We didn't break out the shaker. There's no shakers. This was a stirred cocktail. I will also be doing a stirred cocktail. We want to make it
Dangerous.
very easy and simple. Simple syrup. See what I did there?
Dangerous.
Make it very simple for you guys. So you can make these cocktails. You can show up at somebody's bar and they're like, hey, make me something. And you can just be like, oh, wow, I just watched the Barrel Buddies and I got some holiday cocktail ideas.
Let me tell you
right
about
now.
the Gold Rush.
Really quick before you get to Gold
chat,
Rush.
I'm going to go rinse this, get
Yes,
into the
and we
chat
need
a
more
little bit,
ice.
and I'll
We
get you
need-
some ice.
All right, thank you. All right, so Bob Poole and Uncle Punky joined us. So welcome. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the show. So back to holiday cocktails, right? So again, not only it's holiday time, you can go up to the bar and you can say, hey, I want, a whiskey sour. I want an old fashioned. Right now, a couple things. First of all, I still think old fashions are huge right now. That's kind of like the big hype drinks, which they're amazing. So who doesn't want an old fashioned? But what we do see kind of on the trend bandwagon, and you have to be real careful about this, smoked cocktails. So that kind of is the thing this season. Is a lot of smoked cocktails where they'll take some type of like wood. I don't even know what you would call it, like a coaster almost. It has like a little nub on it, and they'll burn like different types of wood into your cocktail, and it's supposed to add a bit of a woody smoked element to it.
How dare you?
But translating that into the drink, it doesn't last. You'll get the smell, but it's sort of gimmicky.
How dare you start talking about this without
I
me?
know, that's why I said it while you were gone, because you own a smoke
I have a smoking gun.
device, a smoking
I have a
gun.
smoking gun at home with multiple variations of wood chips. I got it as my white elephant gift last year. How dare you talk about this without me? No, I agree. I think it's super gimmicky, but in the best way.
In the best way,
In
but
the best way. It's
but
very Instagram.
bars, that's the thing. It's very social media. It's, watching the bartender light it on fire at your table, and they do the wave and the circle, and the smoke goes everywhere. It's very social media hypey.
Yeah, the essence of something smoked. I watched somebody do a smoked cocktail using chopped up rosemary sprigs, and they smoked the glass before pouring and making their cocktail. And I was like, wait, so you're burning rosemary? Like, rosemary on its own is really good. I like rosemary, but now you're gonna burn rosemary? Like, no, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. And while we're on this hype train of things, cool things to do with your bourbon or your whiskey, I saw you type it in over there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the fat washed bourbon.
Yeah, so fat washing was probably the hype before smoked cocktails.
Yeah, some people really like it. We've talked to some people who are into it.
You want to talk about umami, but you can have some crazy flavors. You got to be careful with fat washing things.
And some people fat wash. I mean, you're only supposed to fat wash overnight, 12 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours.
So you basically mix some type of fat. What would you even use?
Well, okay, so there's two kinds. Really, there's two kinds, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are using bacon fat right now.
Bacon fat is a
And
big one.
Sesame oil is another one. So I think sesame oil I think that's a big risk. Personally, I think that's a huge risk. Sesame oil is extraordinarily overpowering. It's super present. I think it has a place, but I think that you could really ruin your little
Check this one out.
project.
Brown butter washed bourbon. That sounds amazing. Used for a hot toddy.
Ugh,
But again, it's on the precipice of being too much.
I agree.
Tahini washed rye, hazelnut butter washed bourbon.
That's the sesame.
That's the sesame.
The tahini.
So what they do is you basically mix those, you combine those ingredients. You take your sesame, your tahini, your bacon, fat, whatever, you mix it, you basically put it in a jar with some whiskey, bourbon. You put that in your refrigerator for like 10 hours, 12 hours, let it flavors meld. Then you freeze it. And the premise is, once it's frozen, since alcohol doesn't freeze, you skim off that fat, and then you filter it through like a cheesecloth, and you can store it. It's usually lasts for like a couple weeks to like a month.
I think it's like a week that it lasts.
It depends on what it's mixed with, because some bacon fat.
All right, you ready? I've got a $1 million fat washed bourbon idea.
Shoot, what do you got?
Lardo Luxardo.
With like bacon lard
So
or some type of lard?
Bacon lard and Luxardo juice, and you wash and mix and do Lardo Luxardo.
Jackie Black, welcome, bud.
Cheers.
Uncle Punky says burning sage will keep the spirits away.
Yeah. That's not what you want in a
You don't want. I don't want
bourbon,
sage in
though.
a cocktail. I don't want rosemary in a cocktail.
I want my spirits in my spirit.
And a lot of it. And Bullish Brown, welcome, bud. So the thing is, these these bars, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but they use this just to basically charge. In Vegas, some bars right now are charging $25 for like a premium cocktail.
Yeah, because they're using a fat washed or a treated bourbon.
Okay, just really quick, we have Bourbon Cat making her way down here. I think she knows the show's coming. Or the show's going on.
Give updates on Bourbon
really
Cat?
quick, unfortunately, guys, Bourbon Cat is about 90% blind. We have we've heard the word, but she's a trooper and she's in really good spirits. and she still wants to come on the show.
Look at that.
So,
Look at that,
we got
J-Boo.
Bourbon Cat. She heard us down here,
That's nice.
and yeah,
yeah, that's nice.
it is. And it seems like she dropped a little nugget of truth over there.
Oh, excellent.
I think she went to the bathroom over there, so I got to clean that up.
Wonderful.
Anyway, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Well, let's drop another nugget of truth as we talk about our next cocktail. Because if you're not into a whiskey sour, if you don't like lemon, if you're not into something sweet, then we're going to then pivot to this cocktail, which is maybe not in the same category. And that is a very, very classy Manhattan.
So since you already have all the prep over there, and I'm holding this one, can you?
Yeah, I'll
get
take
this
care of
going
this
for us.
I'd love to talk to you a little bit about this as well. So this was done in the mid 1870s at a bar, the Manhattan Club in New York City.
Ah, thus the name.
Thus the name, the Manhattan Club. It was actually created and served originally by legend to Winston Churchill's mother for a U.S. presidential candidate, not one that won, but it was for the announcement of a candidacy for one president. Let me see. I think I have it up here still. Not that it's going to matter. I don't think anyone cares. It was for Samuel Tilden. It was invented by Ian Marshall for a banquet hosted by Jenny Jerome, Lady Randolph Churchill, mother of Winston. And again, in the mid 1870s. So that's kind of a cool.
All right.
I think that's kind of a cool thing.
Well, it's good to know a little bit about the history, right? Because all these cocktails obviously originate from somewhere.
Yeah.
And and look what that bottle that you're breaking out is it's very special and near
very
and dear
local.
to me.
This is the Frey Ranch Rye. Big fans of Frey Ranch, Colby and fam. We love.
Shout out to our friends up north.
And I really got to shout this one out. This is a batch number 1.
Oh, that's our batch
batch
1 rye.
1.
Oh, I'm glad we're using it. And we got Bourbon Cat is just so excited to be on the show tonight, guys. Like, that was a great pop. That was amazing.
Pop.
That was amazing.
Just as a reminder, this rye is farmed, grown, processed, distilled, barreled, aged, and bottled right here in the good old Silver
Fallon,
State.
yeah, Fallon, Nevada, which is it's about 30 minutes east of Reno.
I'm gonna give it 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, okay, all right,
yeah,
all right.
It's out in farm country.
Out in farm country, and who would have thought, right? Like Nevada, you think it's just desert out here, but no, up north, they're growing grains, they're growing wheat, they're growing rye, and this is really exciting that we have a local product, and they've won some amazing awards already. Some of the big San Francisco Spirit Awards, some of the big whiskey awards, they've knocked it out of the park. So
the Frey Ranch products are becoming really collectible, very hypey. Taters are all over these bottles.
Well, and the thing is, I think we kind of we are spoiled out here out west. We really only get them out here. I don't know of a lot of my friends out on the East Coast that get Frey Ranch. So we'll have to talk trades for some of you out there on the East Coast to do a little. If you're interested in some Frey Ranch, we have some barrel proof rye and barrel proof whiskey that is delightful. It is so good.
So let me talk to you a little bit about the recipe we're using here tonight.
Yeah, what do you got?
So this is a traditional Manhattan recipe. For one serving, that's going to be 2 ounces of a rye whiskey of your choice, 1 ounce of a sweet vermouth, and 2 dashes of a bitters of your choice. Tonight we're, of course, using the Frey Ranch rye. Then we're going to use the Cinzano sweet vermouth Bianco. Right. So a nice white sweet vermouth. And then we've picked up a really nice cherry bourbon bitters from Strong Water Bitters Company.
Good
so this
stuff.
is a really nice thing. You can garnish this with a maraschino or a Luxardo. Mm-hmm. Luxardo is preferred if you're watching this show. And this is not a cocktail.
I think it's a lemon twist. You can do a garnish.
You could do a lemon twist.
Lemon twist or Luxardo. I'm out of Luxardos, unfortunately. Anyone out there wants to send some Christmas gifts?
Yeah, nothing like a
Luxardo cherries are always welcome.
$40 jar of cherries.
They're 20, but it's a $20 jar of cherries.
depending
But
on where you go.
they're the best.
And traditionally, you should serve this in a coupe glass or even a martini glass.
Oh,
But tonight we're going to serve it in a high snifter
yeah.
because that's what we got.
Just back to Luxardo. Here's the problem with those Luxardos. You keep them in the refrigerator. You get them nice and cold. You break them open for like a cocktail night. There's half a jar left in the fridge, and then late at night,
Just start eating them.
you snack out,
start eating
and
them.
before you know, they're gone. And that was our problem here.
So here's what you're
So,
left with.
all
You're
right.
left with a very nice,
Cheers.
classy cocktail. Again, no ice on this. This is one you're going to stir with ice. You're not going to serve with ice, okay? This is a more stand-up, spiny kind of cocktail.
What? You were just on point with these cocktails tonight.
Damn, that is
Wow.
okay. So the vermouth does bring in. Okay, we're talking umami here, and vermouth is typically a very earthy umami style of. I mean, what is it? It's fortified wine, essentially, right?
Yeah.
It's not a port, but it is essentially like a fortified wine.
Right.
I always think it tastes like mushrooms.
Okay.
It does. It tastes like
Yeah,
mushrooms,
it does.
like a
No, when you
sherry,
mentioned that,
right?
I'm like, it's
Tastes
like a sherry.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
So this is going to have a nice umami earthiness. You've got the rye that brings in a big spice, a big body, very full-bodied spice. And then you got the bitters, right? That's going to bring in a nice aroma on the nose.
Yep.
The cherry bitters was, I think, an excellent choice to
it
go with
was
the rye.
fantastic.
And then the bitters actually lends a really nice back end to the sip of this cocktail.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be a cocktail that you can, again, very confidently walk up to the bar. And when they say, hey, what are you having? And you know you want bourbon, but you just don't want regular old bourbon.
Yeah.
Hey, give me a Manhattan.
Well, think about it too, right? You know, a lot of the times, I take that back. Most of the times, you're not going to a bar. Maybe you're with a group of people and you just want to keep it light. You still want to be able to socialize.
Mhm.
So you're not going there just to get loaded, right? You're ripped. You want to go and enjoy a cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you can get a Manhattan. It's very simple. I think this is something that all palates can enjoy. You're getting that rye whiskey coming through.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot of those elements of the cherry.
I think the cherry, can I just put it out there? Between the cherry, the vermouth, the rye, I'm getting some nice, I don't want to call it anise because I don't think that's right, but I'm going to go with fresh fennel.
Clove, fennel,
right? There's some nice fresh fennel.
Yeah.
It is
fennel.
it's not bright, but it is a nice, fresh, almost refreshing feel to this cocktail that I think is going to lend well to whatever you are out drinking, especially if you're out at a bar. It's going to be also something that causes you to sip. This is not something you're going to go.
Oh yeah, you don't pound this. It's a sipping cocktail.
This is a sipping cocktail. It's a cocktail you're going to go, wow, that lingers. Obviously, this lingers on the palate.
I love that. It does really sit with your palate. It makes you want to pace yourself in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to pace myself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'll go up to a bar and you get some nice, sweet, delightful cocktail like this honey one we just had. I'd want to pound this. If I went back to this, I'd probably just pound it in 2 more sips.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you'd like to pace yourself. You have that Manhattan. You get the bitters, vermouth. It's going to hold you back a little bit, but it's enjoyable, and you're still going to have the same effect once you have like 2 or 3 of them.
I'd say if you are a fan of something like a Campari and soda, not that this is sweet and then immediately bitter like a Campari, but it does have that herbalness. If you like that in your cocktail, a Manhattan is for you.
Yeah.
A Manhattan is for you. And if you want to kick this up, if you want to go even classier, if you're really with a classy group, I'd say if you like a Manhattan and you want to kick it up, switch to a sidecar. A sidecar is going to be really close, except for you're going to switch out your rye for cognac.
Right.
And you're going to have cognac, sweet vermouth, and some bitters.
Yep.
It's going to be it's basically this, but with cognac.
Could I use Hennessy? Henny sidecar?
Heck, have a Henny sidecar.
Yeah. I'm down with that, actually.
What would we
I
call
like
that?
Henny. People knock it all the time. But
Henny's not good. No, Henny's not bad.
Yeah.
It's popular for a reason.
Exactly.
It's good. Do you hear that? We talked about this a couple weeks ago. You told me this, that Sean Puffy Combs is releasing his
Ciroc
own version of Henny.
Yeah.
Of a cognac.
Yeah. So Ciroc is supposed to be coming out with their own cognac.
How about
that? And it's going to be an XO. So, As you guys know, extra old is what XO stands for. And that means it's 10 years or older. So
That's
I'm
right.
interesting to see
Well, a blend,
maybe they
right, of 10 and 8.
a blend, but I think they might have thought about this and conceived it maybe 10 years ago. And now they're finally saying, hey,
We can do it.
you know,
It's
we
ready.
can do it now. It's ready. And as you guys know, whiskey, bourbon, these spirits we're drinking, barrel aging takes time. And that's
Yep.
the one thing that you can't reproduce artificially. Many people have tried, but just juice sitting in a barrel for age and time that's what it takes.
And it's worth it.
It is worth it. So,
Well, those are the 2 holiday cocktails that we would talk about. Jimmy, you want to tell them what's coming up next week?
next week we have, it's almost like I want to do a big drum roll here. The Nog Show.
Use your noggin for the Nog Show.
Use your noggin for the Nog Show. Kind of polarizing. So I talked to some people and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a Nog Show, and they were kind of like gagged out. And I'm
Some
like,
people hate eggnog.
I'm okay, but have they really had a true boozy eggnog beverage?
You know,
like,
that's the thing, right? I mean, some people have only ever had the eggnog.
yeah, they just sipped
Thick
it.
and creamy and
Yeah.
overly sweet, and you're like, ugh, you've got to have something to cut through that.
Right.
You have to.
Yeah.
If you haven't, give it a try. It might change your whole perspective on this thing, man.
Yeah.
Just saying. We're gonna do a sampling of Nogs. So hopefully Zach will be back next week.
Yep.
And Zach will make the Nog.
And so Zach will make his Nog. Then we're gonna have the infamous Ellis Island,
Would
Las
you call it
Vegas.
infamous
Ellis,
or famous?
very famous. It's not infamous.
Famous,
It's
infamous.
famous.
Renowned.
Renowned eggnog. If you guys know local casinos out here, Ellis Island, very, very famous. It's actually a really good late night hangout because of their incredible deals. They run some $6 steak special.
And don't forget their karaoke.
They do this karaoke where everybody just shows up and you can pound back like
Good.
$2, $3 beers that they
Yeah.
make there. And then they make this homemade nog, and I think the recipe is from like the 60s. They got it
they've
from
been
like
making it a
Italy from some
long time.
guys, and they've been making it for a long time. They bottle it and sell it.
Yep.
It's really cool. We hope to have some of that on the show.
Maybe
next
some
week, so.
Anderson, maybe some Shamrock. We might
Yeah, we're gonna go out there.
Store bought.
I'd like to find some store-bought stuff that is like national brands that we can talk about with our friends on the show here, so they can go get some.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I tried a store bought brand that was absolute trash.
Can you
Here we
share
go. You know
what
what
it
really
is?
grinds my gears?
Yeah, what really grinds your gears? Tell us about
some
that
national
eggnog.
brand.
Tell us about that
Some
eggnog.
national brand eggnog that just really grinds my gears, and that's Kroger brand eggnog.
Oh, shame on you,
terrible.
Kroger brand.
Terrible! It was so bad. It was disgusting. Okay, first there was like it was literally like if you took half and half, made it super thick, colored it yellow, and then just ultra sweet. There was no seasoning in it. It was gross. It was gross. So yeah, shame on you, Kroger. Shame. It was no
Wow.
good.
Hopefully Kroger's watching, and they go back and fix that recipe. Come on, Kroger,
Terrible.
get it together.
You could do better. You could do better.
Yeah, because here's the thing: we have Anderson Dairy, which is
Amazing.
local to Nevada, local to Las Vegas, and they crush it with their eggnog. It's amazing.
And for those of you in the northern Nevada hemisphere, Model Dairy eggnog, which I was raised on, amazing.
There you
Always
go.
good. And
There
I
you
just
go.
had the Shamrock Farms eggnog for the first time. Also,
Yeah, Shamrock.
incredible.
So if I'm not mistaken, I've seen Shamrock eggnog at Total Wine and Trader Joe's.
It's incredible. It's so good.
Speaking of, I'm gonna stop at both of those locations to see if they have like their own branded.
Okay, I have a
eggnog.
request. There is an eggnog that I've been drinking a lot lately too that I think we have to have on the show.
Okay.
The Evan Williams eggnog.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
So Evan Williams put out a nog this year, and it is so good. It is a blend of rum, whiskey, and brandy in their nog.
Oh wow! Talk about getting loaded.
No, it's only 30%.
Surprising.
It is. It is.
Well, you say only.
Only.
You think about
Only.
you have a couple of those glasses of that.
It's easy.
Easy
It's
drinking.
easy to drink the bottle. Amanda and I did one night. Mrs. Askins and I went through a bottle of Evan Nog. It was easy. It was so good and easy. And hey, Uncle Punky, how's that Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog out there? I hear it's pretty good.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, you have the Amish. You're in Amish
How's that
country.
Amish nog?
I bet you guys get some amazing eggnog out there. So
We're gonna have to talk.
he
You're gonna have to
said
let
he
us
said
know.
he's had it. It's really good. I think he's referring to Shamrock.
Ooh.
So yeah. All right, good
Well,
to know.
I think that's enough of a teaser for next week. We've already said too much.
Yeah, come back
with
for the
that-
Nog show, and then let's talk about. Why don't we talk about after that? So then we're gonna go right into Christmas almost.
So we've got a Christmas show. We don't want to give away too much on that. And then, of course, it wouldn't be New Year's if we didn't do the New Year's Bubbles show.
Yeah, we
We
always
left
try
the
to do
bubble
a
show.
champagne show for you guys to prep
Yeah.
for New Year's. You know, the big toast at New Year's. We'll go grab a few recommendations
A
from
few 7-Eleven recommendations.
we so here's what we do. You guys know, I'm sure most of you were here with us last year. We'll get a few 7-Eleven convenience store picks, but then we'll go get a few liquor store picks.
Yeah,
So
we'll get something okay.
we'll get some good stuff. And we actually might have some surprises. I think I've already been gifted a bottle of champagne that I'd be more than happy to break open with you guys.
I think we should open an Ace of Spades this year.
Hey, one of
I
these
may
days,
have one.
our advertising pays for a tenth of a bottle of that.
Hey, I have good news. Speaking of advertising, before we
Go
go,
right ahead. Yeah.
I just want to share with you, thanks to all of you, and I really do mean this, thanks to you. This is not facetious. Thank you for your support on Instagram at the Barrel Buds. Continue to check in with us there.
Definitely.
Instagram has
We do a lot of stories, by the way. BJ
Yep.
is huge on
Oh.
Instagram. Memes, stories, reels, like
really
this
don't
guy
stop.
right here.
Don't stop because
Yeah.
Instagram has actually picked up on the increase in what we've been doing and your guys' interactivity. And we have actually started getting paid
A couple bucks.
$10 for every reel we produce through the end of the year. So interact with our reels, everybody,
We want to pay for some bottles
because that's going to pay for some stuff for the next year. So thank you
Yeah, it
all.
will.
That's really big deal for us.
yeah.
When I got that notification last night, I literally jumped out of bed, asked Mrs. Askins. She was like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing's wrong. Everything's right. It's finally going right.
It's finally going right.
The Barrel Buddies are finally coming on Prozis. And so we're really excited that the Instagram is really starting to take hold. So don't forget, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a
Yep.
share, leave us a comment. It really makes a difference for us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
That's it for the Barrel Buddies. I'm James,
And I'm BJ.
and this is Bourbon Cat.
Aw,
Say
welcome
Bourbon
back,
Cat. Come on,
J-Boo.
Jumbo. Jumbo.
In the words of a great Zach Dial, drink well and be well, y'all.
There you go. Does he say y'all?
We do now. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.